Hey, everybody, welcome into Folklore and Flourish. You are here on May 31st, final day of season 5 of May with Jane and Mark over at Blue Box 29. So, welcome everybody into the final day of season 5. Not only the final day of season 5, this is our first wrap up of our first season. It's technically our second season we've talked about, but we're ending the year with winter, so it kind of got broken up, and we get to, kind of end our first full season right now, our first full cycle, which has
Right.
been pretty fun, especially with it being May, I think, the month of creation and fertility and just the archetype of the life giver. I think today was just like a really good day
Yeah.
all around. Making goals for tomorrow. We're kind of choosing things that are feeling better by listening to our body and not always it's not always cold turkeying things or completely you're out for life, right? But taking a break from some things, taking a break from some people, moving into our fire months, our fire elements, and our summer month or season tomorrow. But we got to kind of end it today, and I'm going on this long rant because we ended it today just getting up, taking care of our outside, then taking care of some stuff inside, and then sitting down to wrap up our, you know, just a month of just abundance and growing and acknowledging that the cycle never ends and that it's very different from like a plant, right? A seed to now it's a full plant to now I'm harvesting to now I'm eating and it's over. It's not, right? Because the seed comes from the harvest still. So it kind of just goes to show us that we're in constant transitional seasons.
Right.
We don't just change and it's an event and it's done and over with. It's going to come again and again. And so today our topic is the seed again. So we've gone full entire circle to May. Now we are back at the seed of things again. But before we jump too much into that, and I continue to just talk your ear off, I just wanted to touch on some things that we've done the past few months. So let's
Mhm.
just wrap up what all of our spring months were. I really enjoyed spring. It's like allowing yourself to see the light again and then being in the full spirit of it. You can either run with it and run with the growing, or you can be in a time of rest. But you got to recognize that eventually you got to keep
Mhm.
going, right? Because the cycles keep going. But we started off with March, right? Going in as the tested hero, right? It's the very first month where the snow starts to thaw, life is trying to spring up, but we're still carrying that heavy like coat, right?
Right.
So we're ready to share it. We went through all of the crossing. So creation and crossing. We cannot go through these cycles of change ever if we don't know we need to change. If we
Right.
don't even know that we should change or that we can change. And sometimes that comes from being tested in unexpected ways. That's what March gave us. Was that we've been tested through winter. Now the first test of spring is, will we welcome it? Are we ready to welcome it? It's kind of like in life when you go through a lot of tough times and you treat yourself like something you are unworthy. And then when that season of growth comes back, it's kind of hard to break ourselves
Mm.
out of that depression sometimes, or
Right.
anxiety or regret, and to step up and go, it's okay for me to shed that skin to step into the new. That's what
Right.
March kind of gave us. And I love that because it's the first month of the spring, right? First month of the cycle. And then June's going to come tomorrow where we have a different aspect of a hero. So it goes to show a new season's here. And now we're being tested again
Yeah.
for a whole different aspect of being a hero. It's not just you're a tested hero. Now you're doing other things with it. Now you've grown. Now you've gone through a cycle or two. Do something with it. So
Right.
that's where we're kind of at. So then in April, we got to experience the fun fairy world, right? So the
Right.
other realm.
Yeah.
And we talked about that last night. I got into this
We did.
huge
Yeah,
thing
actually, yeah.
of how to get there, but April was about what's in the new life, right? It's not just us. It's not just the plants. There's a lot of energy that's rising, and not all are good, not all are bad. Most of them are neither. They
Yeah.
just are. There are some beings that are very good and very bad. We've seen that through mythology in the sense of they're helpful or they're disastrous
Mm.
or they're chaotic or they're someone that fights for justice or fights against it, whatever it may be. But that month just kind of showed us that we always need to be cautious of ourselves during our growth, not only of what we release and what we say, but also what we accept, what we take in. Like the contracts we make during our times of abundance and everything's going great, it's easy to get tricked or to
Mhm.
fumble because you're feeling so good. I'm on a high roller. I'm going to keep going. And then someone that you don't expect comes in and says, pause,
Right.
because now I want to be a part of it.
Yep.
Or now I want something, right?
Yeah.
And we got shown that through just distractions of time, right? Missing out on opportunities or simply giving away opportunities because we doubt ourselves. So
Yeah.
April gave us a little bit of that as well of you are going to be tested but in ways you're not expecting to. So it's not this big hero quest like March. These are things that you almost expect to always be on your side. That they're their own characters and their own story. You're
Mhm.
someone passing through. So that one gave us a little bit of a different perspective. It was a very different veil walker than the January one, right?
Right.
Because the January threshold veil is that winter one, which is a lot more. Well, I guess January is kind of like April in the sense that that's one of the months where the veil is really sway. So you
Mhm.
can walk through a little bit easier. You can manipulate it more. Kind of like January, but that one was a little bit more trickstery because life is springing forward. So it's not as straightforward. It's a lot of chaos, a lot of silliness. But then we got to end spring with our month of creation and fertility, like we said. This is tweaking. So we ended with creation and fertility and the life giver. So that's another fun part of the cycle of life is as we thought as we thaw out from winter, right? And we go into spring, you don't have to be a life giver in the sense of having a baby to be a life giver. That's what spring shows us is that there is so much life for us to be a part of, that it's not a right or wrong in which way you choose necessarily, but choosing not to be with life, your own self, right? Or other life is not okay. So choose which way you want to go. Choose which way you want to grow with life, whether it be with humans, animals, or, plants. That's what these 3 months told us. So I'm just excited that we're back at the seed again.
Yeah.
And our theme of cycles return. And with all of that, and then today, like we got our composter done. We got
Yeah.
2 plants that hopefully, we're just starting out, but they're going to turn into these giants.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for that because we really took care of the roots and everything.
Mhm.
What else did we do? We repotted some plants. I found out that there were some plants that I really needed to take better care of.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was a reflection on myself of that plant
But
was
that's
a
been in
reflection on
that
me.
pot and it's looked so good and so healthy.
Mhm.
Why would you mess with it? And that's like such a good point. So on the surface, it looked great. But until we dug into it and really looked at it and looked what was underneath, we were like, whoa, this needs help. And how many times in life is that true? In so many different ways it can be. Like, everything looks great. Why would I mess with it? Maybe just do a checkup. I'm not saying like totally dig everything up and tear it apart, but doing a checkup either on yourself or your surroundings or something that you haven't looked at in a while. Not saying go fix everything, but just double check on stuff, and us with the plant stuff, obviously we're talking about that. It's showing us how to be better plant parents, you
Mhm.
know, because like look at the one plant, you got I don't know how many babies growing off of that one
Right.
because it's doing so well. So the more that we're learning of like one thing I've always said is when I start like a new job, I like it to kind of go just so I understand where are the issues at that okay, I've seen the worst of the worst. Now I can just deal
Mhm.
with it when it shows up. And that's kind of like what we are doing and learning. So I'm really appreciating and enjoying how we're doing this.
As you were saying that, it just like, I don't know, every time I feel like you say stuff, things just click. And you see me like,
I was watching.
how many journeys have I had where the very being that I continuously see is the being that that plant represented? That
Mhm.
plant's literally been calling, and we just keep wondering why and keep assuming. And so it just made me think, wow,
Interesting, yeah.
this plant's been calling this whole time. And it made me emotional a little bit today
Yeah.
because how I told you, it kind of made me feel like it was a reflection of me.
No, that was the way you described that. It was actually tragically beautiful.
Yeah.
It really was.
Because
It's sad but happy, you know,
they like
like
thrive. They do thrive in a lot of situations, but this one wasn't. For years, like I didn't know snake plants appreciate being repotted every year. Right? Or just being kind of having the pot messed with and cleaned out and everything,
mhm.
just taking care of. I hadn't for a long time. And
But why would you when it looked so healthy?
so why would we check in on people that look so happy? It's usually like that, isn't it
Yeah,
though? The people
yep,
that are compensating, feeling like they always have to be this. And that's what I felt like the snake plant was like.
yeah,
Hey, I mean, like, obviously, Jane likes me, takes care of me, cares about me, and I'm important to her. That was a really important plant to me. I always talked to it,
yeah.
and it just wasn't growing. Then it started growing a little baby finally the past few months, but I'm just like, why? Why is this plant not doing it?
Right. It looks good, but it's not like it doesn't look like I've seen some, I thought I didn't
Yeah,
know that
the
they get so
Rio at the
big and
bar.
huge.
At
Yeah.
the bar there, it's the biggest spider plant I've ever seen. But
Snake plant?
yeah, snake plant, sorry. But when I saw it, the reading and it said, "No, they won't grow anymore, they'll look the same." That plant has probably looked the same for so long, it's just refusing to die.
Yeah. It's
And
like, "No,
so,
I'll live. I'll
it
just
made
stay
me
this way then."
but with all of that, the lesson for today is that life is circular, so that plant, all these messages, all these signs, like with the reading that we did a while back, not every sign is what we think it is.
Mhm.
But that doesn't always mean we're wrong. It could be our trip still,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I still think it is.
Yeah,
But I
going
think
down
that
there,
it was
yeah, for
also
sure.
something else saying,
Yeah, just one thing, it doesn't mean it only is that one thing.
right.
It could be so many things, you know?
And as we were talking as well, it kind of made me think I told you I moved a lot. Like I don't like staying in one place for a very long time.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously when you're a kid, you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
But being an adult, I've moved within every 3 to 4 years, or that 1 year was like 5 times. But it made me kind of think of how you were saying you're ready to be repotted.
Yeah.
You are ready to be rehomed. So it's like the plants are kind of teaching us that too, though,
Right.
is that it's not just plants that need something new every once in a while. We all outgrow spaces.
Mhm.
We all do. And you see it even when parents get bigger houses as they get more children, right? They have more children, they get a bigger house, and then they downsize when they're all gone
Yeah.
because they do. That's how plants are too. All life wants to have a size of a home that fits it correctly, right?
Right.
When you have those big homes and all that space, but no one ever sees each other, it just
Yeah.
creates space.
Right.
You don't need it anymore, right? So it
Mhm.
just reminds me of that too, and how these plants are just telling us, okay, we're all going to be ready and thriving. And then it's time for you to be repotted now.
Right. I love that analogy. That is an amazing
Well, if you
analogy that
think
you just
about it,
brought up.
how many times has this pot been like cleaned for you? And I'm not saying that is how many people have been here cleaning with you, No, I'm saying how many times have there been new situations, new attempts for you to flourish,
Right.
right? Because people that come into our lives are just different forms of food and water. They really are. They're just
Yeah,
nourishment coming in.
mhm,
So you've been nourished, nourished, nourished. Things have worked, things haven't, things have been destructive, things have been really prosperous at times, but sometimes it's not the home anymore.
mhm.
Sometimes the home is perfect, sometimes the pot is perfect, but you've just outgrown it.
Yep.
And nothing will make you be able to flourish there anymore.
No, but it might be perfect for the next plant.
Mhm. And so that's what's exciting. So just talking about all this stuff and how I said I have goals too, we get to think about what will we grow next?
Mhm.
So what will I as an individual grow next? But then what will we grow next as a partnership?
Right.
And that's what's cool too is that kind of like how we talked about like the Venn diagram. So if we're all our own energy circles, and then two people come together, and in between, that's something they're creating together.
Mhm.
It's not always like partnerships, spouses, or anything like that. It's friendships, right? It's siblings, it's parents, it's kids, stepkids, pets,
Mhm.
plants, all these things. So it's what will I grow next? What will we grow next? What will us growing help other people? And so it's just an endless cycle.
Mm,
So we get to think today as we wind down our day and kind of relax and everything, what are we growing next? Because it's cool. We have goals that you and I have together,
yeah.
but why? What are we growing next?
Yeah.
Because it's cool for us to get better. That's awesome. We want to grow and flourish to help others, but why?
Right.
What are we growing here? Right? We got our image done. That was so cool because I was looking at our Blue Box 29 and the two faces where we split it into you and I just really liked that.
Yeah.
It just felt like that's what we're growing. We have that money coming in. So all these things are about to be checked off really fast
Right.
to where it's going to be like, wow. But not only do we have these, we already have the book out.
Mhm.
We've completed 5 months every single day of doing stuff.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just a story, but still, you've had to sit and read those. It's not like you're using AI or something. You're sitting there,
Right.
you're doing the work, and you've done it every single day. I haven't done it every day, but you have every single day for 5 straight months.
But
That is amazing.
you've helped with that, and I appreciate that. I'm not trying to say, "No, no, no, no." No,
No,
I
I get it.
appreciate that, but the things that you have done to help me do that has been huge as well. So
Mm,
that's why I say we have,
right,
because could I have if I had been going and doing stuff every single day?
right.
Right?
It
Because
would have
there's a
made
lot
it
of
a little
stuff.
more challenging.
Right, could I have probably could I have done it as successfully? Probably not, but who knows? We
Right,
have 7 more months to go. Tomorrow, we start our month that when it's done, we're officially halfway through our first year. Not just our first year of podcasting, but we're doing it every day. This is
right,
it may be one of our only times we ever do one a day for a full year.
right. For the first,
I think
yeah,
the only other time it would happen is the final year of the podcast.
right.
And that's could be like the wrapping up of one chapter to go to a next. You never know. But um, we're going to think about what are we going to go next. So with our goals, why? Why do I want to be better? Because it's cool to say I want to be better for you. I do.
Mm,
I want to be better for my parents. I want to be better for my siblings, better for all these other people, for the girls, for the pets, the plants. But why? That's what we're looking at.
right,
Because I don't know what I'm going to grow if I don't know why.
exactly.
So that's what we get to think about. And it's exciting, you know?
Mhm.
There's a lot of opportunities. Some things are easy to say why, right? Well, obviously, okay, but there are other things that that's why they fail. It's
Mhm.
because we don't have a why.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things is losing weight to look good. I think that's a great thing. You want to look good, that's great. But if you don't feel good, it doesn't matter. If you're
That part.
starving yourself,
That part.
if you are taking away every single joy, and I'm not saying you just are gluttonous or whatever, have your disciplines, all of that, but we just have to remember that too. The
Mhm.
why. I
Right.
do want to look good because I want to feel good.
And that's the
I want
bigger
to feel
part is you're
confident.
gonna feel better. Yes, you're gonna look better, but you're gonna feel better. So then just because you're feeling better, your whole reality is going to start to shift And in turn, everything else falls into place. And it is, yeah, you're thinner or whatever, and that conception of you got to be thinner to look better or whatever. No,
No, I gotta be
you're looking
healthy.
better because you're healthy on the inside. So then you're radiating that light. Truly, like within the energy work thing, and the biggest thing I've noticed about myself is when I'm really getting into it and it's getting stronger, if I'm being lazy, it's challenging to use any of my energy stuff.
Mhm.
I could sit there if I've been working out, I could just sit there and I can feel it coursing through my hands and my body and stuff. But that second when I stop taking care of myself on the inside, the stuff that you can't see, then my body's like, okay, well, then we're just not going to work. So if you take care of this little thing and you put these two things together, who knows what's going to be? Just like with the seed, I'm going to put the seed in the dirt and I'm going to put water on it and I'm going to take care of it and then it's going to grow into this beautiful plant. Do the same thing for yourself.
Yep, and I thought about that today, a comment that you made in the past is sometimes all you can do is do nothing, and how that is the hardest part of the process, arguably. Either that or the initial start.
Yeah.
Those 2 things are hard because some things can only grow when you allow them to by keeping your hands off.
Yep.
Some things will like I told you, the hair thing, right? So I'm gonna work with collagen and stuff more and the things other things that help it. But you don't see those results for 8 to 10 weeks in, like, the hair. Obviously, I've always had thin hair, but you have to keep going.
Hmm.
You have to remember the why, 'cause it's not at week 8 to 10 that I'm thinking about the why. It's week 1 a lot of the time. It's mainly week 1, and then it's periodically throughout, though,
Hmm.
too. So that initial start and then that just don't touch it, don't mess with it, keep going, believe in it,
Yeah.
because you have to, and other people as well. I have to believe that you are who you can be
Hmm.
without me meddling in it.
Right. Well, that's the thing too. And what popped into my head as you were talking is when you keep fiddling with something, you're not allowing it to fully grow. So it's like possibly a parent with a child, and they call them helicopter parents. They're
Mhm.
always circling around them, like, "Oh my goodness, you're
And then as
this and
adults,
that."
they're micromanagers.
Yeah, and then that's the thing. So it's like you really want to look at what you're doing. Okay, I want this to grow. I want this to do that. Cool, but it's not going to do anything unless you give it the opportunity and then sit back and really watch it. And that could be the same in so many different aspects of your life, whether it's being at a job, being a parent, growing plants. If you do not sit back sometimes and just see what the heck is going on, you're either likely to miss something or mess something up just because you didn't take the breath to take the chance to see what it needs. Sometimes you'll get that in your head. It'll be like, oh, because I stopped, now I realized I did this or I didn't do this, and now I need to do this. And then everything just starts working better just because you took that second. You took that breath.
Yeah. And that's honestly, I was gonna talk about like furniture because that's my big thing. But I think that
So
the
long as it's not a rocking chair.
no, I think actually the what you just said leads perfectly into the activity for today. And you and I have both done it, not necessarily a seed, but we had a plant in our hand today.
We did
But
actually
the
multiple times.
activity, if we can, and if you can find a seed, if not, find any plant living thing,
We actually did
something
have
you're
seeds today
repurposing. Oh, that's
too.
right.
Yeah.
So you're going to hold a seed or even a stone in your hand, and you're going to pay attention to its weight and texture.
Mm.
So you're going to really acknowledge it, but be present with the weight and texture of it. So this seed, what it is now, not what it will become, you're present with its texture and its weight and its presence now, its being now.
So that with obviously most seeds are really small.
Mhm.
So when we're doing this, when you're saying check the texture, the weight, obviously the weight is going to be if it's a tiny seed, not much.
Mhm.
There's different ways to do it. And I guess have fun with it.
Yeah.
You don't have to just be like, this seed, I don't even really feel. I mean, you can feel it, but weight wise, you wouldn't feel it. But make a fun experiment with it, set
Pull
up
out
a
the
thing that,
seed for something you ate today. Like there's and that's the thing too, seeds aren't always small.
hmm
Sometimes you'll eat a fruit or something and be like, this is the seed. The pit is bigger than the actual fruit.
yeah.
And it's frustrating. But why? Feel that texture.
Mm,
That's what it takes to grow. That's the heart of this thing. So it's like, yeah, cool, it's taking up all this space. You toss it. That's what made it
that's
grow.
life, yeah.
So we just got to pay
That's
more
new
attention
life,
to
yeah.
it.
Mhm.
Mhm. And then we're going to choose one intention to carry forward into our next cycle. So we have one intention we're going to carry forward tomorrow. And if it helps you, tomorrow we start off with Heroes and Quests, and it's the
Ooh,
Pathfinder. So
mm,
we want to have an intention before we go in to our pathfinding. Because tomorrow we leave. We're starting off with the leaving. We
mm,
don't get time to pack it up and go, we're going. So we're getting it started off tomorrow. So we're going to calm down the rest of today. Let spring just be. We've put in the work, we've put in the stuff. Now, as we move into the summer months, we're going to regulate the work there and focus on ourselves more,
mhm.
which is exciting because it's also our, season.
Right.
Being we're both Leos, so we get to
It's our
end
fire
with
months.
our Leo
Yeah.
season. But yeah, we're in our fire month, so we are going to work on ourselves a little bit more. But I encourage everyone to, because something that's really exciting about the fire month is that we just ended our earth seasons, a lot of our earth seasons that really helped us set a standing point for ourselves, for life to be. And now our fire season is rise into that power. This is our time to be, to grow, to thrive, to be in the sunshine. And so we are going to focus on I, because when I get better, we can get better.
Right.
And that's what's important too.
That's a big thing too, and you've heard me say it probably way too many times is don't do anything for me. Like, you don't do something for me, I won't do something for you in the way
Well,
of
don't feel like you have to, is
right.
what you said.
Yeah, don't feel like you have to do something for me because you think I want you to do that. That's from what I've seen. So many people can become unhappy because they are trying to make you happy. Your partner could be unhappy only because they are only fixated on you because they think if they make you happy, then they will be happy. And unfortunately, with a lot of things, it's not life. Life is make yourself happy, just like putting the thing on an airplane. Put that mask on first on yourself.
Help yourself so
It
you can help
plays out
others.
because as soon as you are happy and no matter what, you are 100% in your full thing and you are feeling great. And then I come at you 100% in my full power, feeling great. We're not going to go lower. We're only going to go higher. We can only get so high by ourselves. But if we're both at 100% and we meet up at 100%, holy cow.
So we're gonna flip the script then. You know how it's usually hurt people?
Yeah.
I think we should almost kick that to the curb and just start saying heal people,
Yeah.
because that's it too. Growing people help others grow.
Yeah.
That
For
doesn't
sure.
mean that I'm letting you take my growth pattern.
No.
Here's where I am. I'll help you. And maybe I enjoy helping you, so we continue to help each other.
Right.
Maybe I don't and I help you and I step away.
Yeah.
But we're going to turn into, healing people help others heal.
I like that because, and it's true because one thing I also say a lot is the energy you put out is the energy you get in, the energy that you align with. So if you're showing people how great this energy is and how to heal, like what we're doing is showing, right? But because our energy is healed, our energy could show somebody else, not necessarily us being like, no, this is how you do it. It's our energy on the inside of our body talks to their energy on the inside of their body. And it's like, no, this is what I did. It's not words from us. It's not us saying, hey, this is what I did to get healed. No, it's just the energy within us,
And
just being who you are and showing people I can be this cool. I just wrote a book. Oh, guess what? I'm writing another one. Or, hey, I just made this cake. Do you want to try it? Hey, here's some cookies. Show what you can do. It doesn't have to be something big and crazy and fun. Go make a sandcastle, show somebody.
right.
Just it doesn't have to be crazy and extravagant. Just be happy with yourself and what you're doing. Somebody else is going to find joy in that
Mhm.
too.
And then to remember that, yeah, I heal people, and healing people heal people. And then you're gonna have to heal again. Like
Mhm.
that's what spring is about. That's what the cycles are about is it's not, "Oh, I'm helping you heal because I'm healed and I'm done. I'm
Right.
done." It's not like that.
No.
It's because, like how I told you last night, it's almost like a cylinder and we're each in levels, and then someone comes around when we're not expecting it and just put their hand down to help us up.
Mm,
They're like, "Okay, let's keep going."
right.
And yeah, you bring people with you, you lose some people, but it's just a cycle.
Mm,
It's our cycle, our reality.
yep.
And I'm just happy that we get to wrap it up today. Spring,
Uh,
move into the fire elements. I'm so ready.
yeah.
I think that I am ready to
Yeah.
finally just be like, no,
It's
like
time.
this is where I'm at.
Yep.
So we're going to hear that through 4 stories today. We're going to hear it through Native, Korean, Celtic, and then Indian today.
Mhm.
4 beautiful stories all about the seed again. So enjoy this story. Set that intention. Okay. So set one intention you want to carry forward tomorrow as we start with the Pathfinder and Heroine Quest. And enjoy the final day of spring for this whole year. See ya.
Love you guys.
Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1: The Corn Mother, the one who returns through the seed. Across many Native American traditions, particularly among the peoples of the southeastern and eastern woodlands, stories tell of a sacred figure known as the Corn Mother. Though her name and details vary from tribe to tribe, her role remains remarkably consistent. She is the source of nourishment, the giver of life, and the one whose sacrifice allows her people to survive. In these traditions, corn is far more than a crop. It is a living gift, a sacred connection between humanity and the earth. Every kernel carries a memory of the Corn Mother, reminding people that food is not merely harvested but received through relationship. Her presence is found in every planting season, every harvest, and every shared meal, making her story a continual part of daily life rather than a tale confined to the distant past. In many versions of this story, the Corn Mother willingly gives herself so that food may grow. Sometimes she instructs her children to place her body upon the earth. In other tellings, she is transformed into the first corn through divine power, or corn appears where she once stood after her disappearance. Though the details differ, the lesson remains the same. Life comes through sacrifice, and what is given is never truly lost. Instead, it changes form. The Corn Mother becomes the corn itself, returning again and again through each planting season. The people participate in this sacred cycle by planting seeds, tending fields, and harvesting with gratitude. Every stage of cultivation becomes an act of remembrance. Planting a seed requires trust because the seed disappears into the soil before new life emerges. Yet that disappearance is not an ending. It is the hidden beginning of transformation. The story reflects a worldview rooted in cycles rather than straight lines. Life does not move simply from beginning to end. Instead, it continually returns. Seeds become plants, plants become harvest, harvest becomes seeds for future growth. The Corn Mother embodies this ongoing movement. Her story teaches that death and life are not opposites but partners within the same cycle. What appears to be an ending may actually be preparation for renewal. This perspective encourages gratitude and patience. To plant is to trust in what cannot yet be seen. To harvest is to recognize the gifts that have returned. To eat is to remember the source from which those gifts came. The Corn Mother reminds us that renewal often happens beneath the surface, hidden from view until the right season arrives. In every moment when we begin again after loss, nurture something whose outcome remains uncertain, or trust that growth is taking place even when we cannot see it, we reflect on the wisdom of her story. She teaches that life continues through cycles of giving, receiving, and returning. Like corn emerging from the soil each year, what seems lost may simply be preparing to come back in a new form. Through her story, the Corn Mother remains a symbol of nourishment, sacrifice, and the enduring promise of renewal. Oh,
Oh,
Story 2, The Grain Mother, the spirit that lives within the harvest. For centuries, Korean communities have lived in close relationship with the rhythms of agriculture. Rice fields, barley crops, and seasonal harvests shaped not only survival, but also cultural and spiritual life. Within this agrarian worldview emerged a belief in the Grain Mother, a sacred presence understood to dwell within the crops themselves. Though not always portrayed as a single goddess or figure, the Grain Mother represents the spirit of the harvest, the life force that moves through grain and sustains both people and community. The fields are not viewed merely as places of production, but as living spaces where human labor and unseen spiritual forces work together. Through the Grain Mother, the harvest becomes more than food, it becomes a continuation of life itself. As harvest season arrives, the Grain Mother's presence becomes especially important. In many traditional practices, the final sheaves of grain are treated with great care. Rather than being handled like ordinary crops, they may be tied, decorated, or preserved in special ways. Some traditions involve keeping a portion of the final harvest throughout the winter months. When spring returns, these grains are planted alongside new seeds, symbolically returning the spirit of the harvest to the earth. This ritual reflects a belief that the life force within the grain should not be discarded. Instead, it should be carried forward and welcomed into the next growing season. Through this act, the cycle of life remains unbroken. The Grain Mother represents continuity. She teaches that nothing truly begins from nothing. Every harvest contains a seed of the next. Every ending carries within it the possibility of renewal. This perspective encourages people to value what is preserved as much as what is newly created. A small handful of grain stored through winter may appear insignificant, yet it contains the promise of future abundance. The practice reflects patience, stewardship, and trust in processes that unfold beyond immediate visibility. Much of what sustains life happens quietly and unseen, beneath the soil, within seeds, and during seasons of waiting. The story also reminds people that renewal requires intentional participation. The cycle does not continue automatically. Someone must save the grain, protect it through the winter, and return it to the earth. In this way, the Grain Mother teaches responsibility as well as gratitude. The future grows from what people choose to carry forward. Traditions, relationships, wisdom, and hope all survive because they are intentionally preserved and passed on. In every moment where we nurture something through difficult seasons, preserve what matters, or trust that unseen growth is taking place, we embody the wisdom of the Grain Mother. Her story reveals that life is not constantly starting over. Instead, it continues through connection, memory, and care. The harvest of tomorrow begins with what we choose to protect today. Through this enduring cycle, the Grain Mother remains a symbol of continuity, patience, and the quiet power of renewal. Story 3, Caradwen's Cauldron, the transformation that cannot be rushed. In the ancient myths of Wales, few symbols are as powerful as the cauldron of Caradwen, a figure associated with wisdom, inspiration, transformation, and the hidden processes of change. Unlike stories that focus on heroic battles or dramatic victories, the tale of Caradwen centers on something quieter yet equally profound, the understanding that true transformation takes time. At the heart of her story is a magical cauldron, not a vessel for ordinary food, but one capable of creating wisdom itself. What enters a cauldron does not emerge unchanged. Instead, it is transformed through patience, care, and a process that unfolds beyond immediate sight. The cauldron becomes a symbol for life's unseen seasons, those periods when growth is happening beneath the surface, even when nothing appears to be changing. The most famous version of the story begins when Caradwen seeks to prepare a potion of wisdom for her son. The brew is no ordinary mixture. It must simmer continuously for a year and a day, requiring constant attention and devotion. A young servant named Guion is tasked with stirring the cauldron throughout this long process. When the potion is finally complete, only the first 3 drops contain its magical power. By accident, those drops splash onto Guion's hand. Instinctively, he places his fingers in his mouth and instantly receives the wisdom intended for Caradwin's son. Realizing what has happened, Guion flees, and a remarkable chase begins. As Caradwin pursues him, both transform repeatedly. Guion becomes a hare, a fish, and a bird. Caradwin follows as a hunting dog, an otter, and a hawk. Each transformation is met with another, creating a cycle of change that grows increasingly profound. Finally, Guion transforms into a grain of corn and hides among harvested grain. Caradwin becomes a hen and consumes him. At first glance, this seems like the end of the story, yet it is only another stage of the cycle. Guion is eventually reborn as Taliesin, one of the greatest poets and wisdom figures in Welsh tradition. The wisdom he gained from the cauldron continues throughout his new life, transformed but not lost. What makes the story so meaningful is its portrayal of transformation as a process rather than an event. The cauldron does not instantly produce change. It requires time, patience, and a willingness to remain in uncertainty. Guion's journey demonstrates that becoming something new often involves passing through periods where old identities dissolve before new ones emerge. These phases can feel confusing or uncomfortable because the outcome is not yet visible. Yet the story suggests that such moments are not failures. They are necessary parts of growth. Caradwin's Cauldron reminds us that some of life's most important transformations cannot be rushed. Wisdom, healing, creativity, and personal growth often develop slowly, hidden from view until the proper time arrives. In every season where we feel uncertain, when change seems incomplete, or when we find ourselves between what was and what will be, we encounter the wisdom of the cauldron. It teaches that transformation is not the absence of stability, but the path through which new life emerges. What appears to be an ending may simply be the beginning of becoming. Story 4. Prithvi, the earth that receives and returns. Within Hindu tradition, the earth is not viewed simply as land beneath human feet, but as a living, sacred presence known as Prithvi. Often called Prithvi Mata, or Mother Earth, she is the foundation of life, the one who nourishes, supports, and sustains all living beings. Mountains, rivers, forests, fields, animals, and people all exist because they are held within her care. In Hindu cosmology, life unfolds through great cycles of creation, preservation, and transformation. Nothing remains unchanged forever. Everything that arises eventually returns to its source. Prithvi embodies this eternal rhythm. She gives life through her soil and receives life back when its journey is complete, making her both the beginning and the return within the cycle of existence. Throughout Hindu stories and teachings, Prithvi is often portrayed as patient, generous, and enduring. She bears the weight of countless generations while continuing to provide what is needed for life to flourish. Crops emerge from her soil, trees grow from her ground, and water flows through landscapes she supports. Yet she is not portrayed as an endless resource to be used without care. In several traditions, Prithvi calls upon the gods when the burdens placed upon her become too great. These stories remind humanity that the earth, though generous, requires respect and balance. The relationship between people and the earth is therefore understood as one of responsibility rather than ownership. What is taken should be acknowledged. What is received should be honored. This perspective reveals a deeper understanding of life's cycles. Everything that exists physically comes from the earth and eventually returns to it. Plants grow from the soil and become food. Living beings are sustained by that food and in time return to the same earth from which they came. This process is not viewed as loss but as continuity. Nothing truly disappears. Instead, forms change and become part of new forms. Prithvi holds this entire process within herself. She receives without judgment, welcoming what is young and old, flourishing and fading, complete and unfinished. Through her, life continually renews itself. The story of Prithvi offers a profound sense of belonging. It teaches that humans are not separate from nature, but participants within its cycle. The earth beneath our feet is not merely a backdrop to life. It is part of the very process that makes life possible. This understanding softens the fear of endings because endings are revealed as transitions rather than conclusions. What returns to the earth becomes part of future growth. future generations, and future life. In every moment when we plant a seed, walk through a forest, tend a garden, or simply pause to recognize our connection to the natural world, we touch the wisdom of Prithvi. She reminds us that life moves in circles rather than straight lines. We are sustained by the same earth that will one day receive us, and through that return, life continues. Her story teaches that renewal is not something distant or extraordinary. It is happening constantly, carried forward through the endless cycle of receiving and returning that sustains all existence. Daily Thread for May 31st. What ends is already becoming again. Nothing you carry is wasted, transforms. Life does not move forward, it moves through. The unseen holds as much as the visible. You are part of something that continues beyond you. Release is not loss, it is return. Trust what is changing beneath the surface. The cycle is not closing, it is turning.